What if I told you just 3 words, spoken from your mouth, could start unlocking money, attracting opportunities, and reversing years of financial struggle? No games, no gimmicks, just a spiritual law working in your favor when you finally learn to speak with power and intention. These aren't just words, they are financial magnets. They have already changed lives, and if you say them the right way, with the right energy, money will begin to flow to you effortlessly. You've prayed. You've worked, but now it's time to receive. The reason money hasn't shown up is because you've been saying the wrong things. This video will show you how to speak wealth into your reality using the law of attraction and reprogram your life from survival to overflow. If you're tired of lack and ready for increase, watch till the end, and if this speaks to you, like, comment I receive, and subscribe right now. The greatest power God ever gave man was not the strength of muscle or the speed of his feet. It was the authority of his mouth. What you say is what you create. Words were not designed just for communication. They were designed for creation. When God formed the heavens and the earth, he didn't build them with his hands. He spoke them into existence. Now let's bring that truth home. You've been praying for money, working for money, stressing over money, and perhaps even begging for money. But let me ask you, what are you saying about money every day? Because your money doesn't respond to your effort. It responds to your energy, and your energy is governed by your language. Words carry vibrations, and those vibrations either pull wealth toward you or push it away. There are 3 words, simple yet potent, that when spoken with conviction and alignment, become magnetic fields for abundance. But before we explore the words themselves, we need to lay the foundation. Words shape belief, and belief shapes results. The law of attraction is not superstition. It's a biblical, psychological, and scientific reality. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit." What fruit are you eating today? Scarcity or abundance? That fruit came from the seed of your speech. Consider this. A Harvard study on neuroplasticity revealed that the brain reorganizes itself based on what it hears repeatedly. If you constantly declare, "I'm broke," your subconscious will build a mental blueprint to support that outcome. You'll sabotage opportunities. You'll overlook doors that open. You'll feel unworthy of wealth because your internal voice has already cast the vote. But if you shift your language, your brain rewires itself to expect, pursue, and receive financial overflow. The words come first. The money follows. Let me show you how this worked for Amanda, a single mom from Georgia. She worked 2 jobs, lived paycheck to paycheck, and was on the brink of eviction. She stumbled on a podcast that encouraged listeners to say, "I receive wealth now," every morning and night. She felt silly at first, but something inside nudged her to keep going. After 2 weeks, she got a promotion at work. A month later, a friend offered to invest in her baking business, which she had long buried under doubt. Within a year, she left her second job, ran a profitable online store, and moved into a new apartment, all from starting with 3 words spoken in faith. Words are not just sounds, they are spiritual signatures. They write your future in ink. Some people wonder, isn't this just positive thinking? No, positive thinking can change your mood, but prophetic speaking, intentional, repeated declarations, changes your life. When you align your language with divine truth and universal laws, you become unstoppable. Your voice was never meant for complaining. It was meant for commanding. Speak wealth, and wealth begins to notice your frequency. Now here's a data point that might surprise you. A study by Emmons and McCullough found that individuals who practiced verbal gratitude and affirmations had a 23% increase in income within 6 months. Why? Because spoken affirmations shift mental focus, increase confidence, and attract relationships and opportunities that align with abundance. This isn't mystical, it's mathematical. Your speech affects your mind. Your mind affects your decisions affect your outcomes. So, what's the state of your money? Before you check your bank account, check your vocabulary. Are you speaking words that build banks or words that build barriers? Language is the soil of manifestation. It's time to till the ground with truth. Let me be very clear. This isn't about repeating magical phrases like a parrot. This is about engaging your heart, aligning your spirit, and declaring truth until your body, bank account, and business have no choice but to follow. When you wake up, speak. When you feel fear, speak. When bills come in, speak. The more you speak wealth, the more familiar wealth becomes with your address. You may not control the economy, but you absolutely control your ecosystem. And the atmosphere of your life changes by the sound of your voice. Speak like a person who expects to prosper. Speak like someone who believes they were born to be blessed. Speak like a child of the King who knows there's no shortage in heaven's economy. And if you're wondering what those 3 powerful words are, we'll get there, but you must first understand. Your words are your wealth. They are not empty. They are engines. They do not whisper. They build worlds. And if you start today, you can shift the entire financial climate of your life. But it starts in your mouth. There is a spiritual economy that does not bow to Wall Street, inflation, or your job title. It flows based on belief, alignment, and declaration. And within this divine system, there are 3 words that unlock its gates and cause money to begin moving in your direction. These are not just 3 syllables. These are 3 spiritual keys. They are, I receive money. Say it out loud. Now, pause. Feel what just happened in your body. For some, it sparked joy. For others, resistance. You may have felt silly, unworthy, or even guilty. That's because most people have been taught how to work for money, but not how to welcome it. We are trained to chase it, hustle for it, bleed for it, but never to receive it. The law of attraction responds not to desperation, but to receptivity, and that's why these 3 words, I receive money, are not passive. They are a declaration of worthiness, a resetting of inner alignment, and an invitation for abundance to enter your life through unexpected channels. These words say, I am no longer blocking my blessing. They say, I open the doors of my life, business, and heart for prosperity to flow in. They say, I stop wrestling and start receiving. Let's dig deeper. The word receive is loaded with power. In its truest form, it doesn't mean you're begging. It means you're positioned. In agriculture, the soil never begs the rain to come. It just has to be ready when it falls. Likewise, receiving is a posture. When you declare, I receive money, you are turning your spirit toward the heavens and saying, I am aligned, I am open, I am fertile ground. And the universe responds to that alignment. Let me share a story. James, a construction worker in Ohio, had gone through 2 layoffs, a failed business, and a bankruptcy. He stumbled across a teaching online about the spiritual law of receptivity. Though skeptical, he decided to give it a try. He began waking up every morning, looking into the mirror, and declaring 10 times, I receive money. Within 2 weeks, a former employer contacted him for a higher, paying position. The following month, a friend invited him into a real estate investment with 0 capital required. He didn't chase it. He didn't beg for it. He just received it. Now understand this. James wasn't being lazy. He wasn't sitting in bed all day hoping for miracles. He was aligned. His mind was no longer sabotaging his spirit. He had retrained his energy to match his request. This is the missing piece for so many. They pray for wealth with their mouth, but reject it with their mindset. The law of attraction teaches us that like attracts like. If you feel broke, believe you're broke, and speak broke, then you are repelling wealth, even if your words sound positive. But if you declare, I receive money, with faith and expectancy, you are harmonizing your internal vibration with the frequency of abundance. Now some might say, that's too simple, and that's exactly why it works. The most powerful spiritual truths are never complicated. When Jesus healed the sick, he often just said, be healed. When God created the world, he said, let there be. Simplicity is not weakness, it's divine efficiency. And don't overlook the word money. Many believers are afraid to even say the word. They dance around it. They say harvest, or blessing, or provision, but never money. Yet you cannot attract what you're afraid to name. There is no shame in declaring the word money. You can have money without money having you. You can receive it without worshiping it. You can prosper without compromising your principles. In fact, wealth in the hands of the righteous becomes a tool for transformation. Let's talk science for a moment. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research shows that the brain doesn't distinguish between reality and repeated belief. When you affirm, I receive money, with focused feeling, the brain releases dopamine and begins to rewire your belief system to match that reality. Over time, your body and subconscious align with the identity of someone who attracts and receives wealth naturally. This leads to different decisions, bolder conversations, and increased opportunities. So how should you use these 3 words? Speak them daily. Say, I receive money, in the morning and at night. Let your spirit marinate in the frequency of prosperity. Speak them when you feel lack. Interrupt the energy of fear by affirming your identity as a receiver. Write them everywhere, on your mirror, on your journal, on your phone wallpaper. Feel them as you speak. Don't recite. Declare. Let your whole being believe those words. Let me leave you with this. The door to wealth doesn't open because you knock loudly. It opens because you carry the key of alignment. I receive money is not just a phrase. It is a prophecy. Every time you speak it, you summon unseen resources, reorder your atmosphere, and call forth divine supply. You've prayed long enough. You've worked hard enough. Now it's time to receive. You can't say, I receive money, while silently believing, I don't deserve it. The law of attraction does not respond to your mouth alone. It responds to your identity. And identity is not just who you think you are. It's the spiritual blueprint of what you expect, tolerate, and attract. Until your inner identity shifts, your outer reality will resist change. You don't attract what you say. You attract what you believe about yourself. Let me be real with you. Most people do not have a money problem. They have a self-worth problem. They believe on the surface that wealth is good, but deep down they think abundance belongs to them, the influencers, the elite, the lucky. That inner voice says, I'm too messed up. I've made too many mistakes. I've failed too many times. And when those lies take root, they corrupt the soil of manifestation. Even when you say the right words, nothing grows because the ground beneath, the belief system, is toxic. In Genesis, God gave Adam authority, dominion, and provision. That means you were not created to chase. You were created to command. You are not a financial beggar. You are a spiritual receiver. But if your identity is still tethered to poverty, guilt, shame, or lack, then your words will be empty. You'll speak affirmation but still walk in hesitation. That's why you must align your identity with your declaration. Here's an example. Take Marcus, a tech entrepreneur who came from poverty. He had affirmations written on his bathroom mirror. I receive money. I am wealthy. I attract prosperity. But he secretly feared that becoming wealthy would make him greedy like some of the people he saw growing up. That belief made him sabotage his own success. He would procrastinate on big deals. He would underprice his services. He would feel guilty when money came in. Everything changed the day he sat down and asked himself, what do I really believe about rich people? What do I believe about myself? He realized his inner identity was still wired for survival, not success. So he did the real work. He started journaling new beliefs, meditating on scriptures that declared his worth, and repeating this daily: I am worthy of abundance. Wealth is my inheritance. I receive money because I am aligned with purpose. 6 months later, his business revenue doubled. Not because he worked harder, but because his identity caught up with his words. You cannot outrun your identity. If deep down you believe that money will corrupt you, you'll unconsciously block it. If you think abundance makes you selfish, you'll never let yourself receive. But if you begin to see yourself as a conduit, not a container, someone money flows through, not just to, then prosperity will have permission to land in your life. Now let me show you how this works scientifically. Your reticular activating system RAS in the brain filters information based on what you believe. If you believe you're poor, your brain ignores wealth, building opportunities. But if you believe you are a receiver of abundance, your brain starts spotting connections, doors, and ideas that match your new identity. Your words train your RAS. Your identity activates your attraction. This is why your affirmations must be emotional, personal, and identity-driven. Don't just say, I receive money. Say, I receive money because I am worthy. I receive money because I am valuable. I receive money because I carry solutions the world needs. When your declaration and your identity walk in agreement, miracles happen. Not because money suddenly decided to like you, but because you stopped rejecting yourself. Let me ask you, who are you when no one is watching? Do you see yourself as favored, blessed, called, and equipped? Or do you see yourself as behind, broken, and barely getting by, because the money you're asking for will only land where identity makes room? You can decorate your words, but you cannot lie to your spirit. Your inner world must be cleansed, aligned, and rooted in truth. I'll be honest. Some people will recite the 3 words, I receive money, for 30 days and see no shift, not because the words are weak, but because the inner world is at war with them. Identity is the soil, words are the seeds. Planting works only if the ground is ready. So today, it's time to do more than speak abundance. It's time to become abundance. Start speaking affirmations not just with your mouth, but with your habits, your posture, your self-talk, and your inner image. Stand tall when you say it. Look yourself in the eyes when you say it. Train your subconscious to believe it. And above all, stop rehearsing the version of yourself that failed. You are not your past. You are not your paycheck. You are not your environment. You are who God says you are, chosen, positioned, and already approved for overflow. Speak it, believe it, become it. Repetition is the engine of transformation. No matter how powerful a truth is, it becomes powerless in your life if it is not repeated. Saying, I receive money, one time is like watering a seed once and expecting a forest. You don't repeat affirmations because God is deaf. You repeat them because your old beliefs are loud. Repetition is how you overwrite the language of lack with the vocabulary of victory. Let's be clear, faith-filled repetition is not superstition. It is spiritual training. When a soldier is trained, he doesn't practice once. He drills every day. He repeats the motion, the posture, the commands, until it becomes instinctive. Likewise, when you affirm, I receive money, you're not trying to convince the universe. It's already listening. You're reconditioning yourself to live in alignment with what's available. The Bible gives us this wisdom. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word. Not just hearing once, but over and over. Why? Because your brain was wired by repetition. That's how trauma formed, that's how poverty mindsets formed, and that's also how freedom forms. If you want to build a life of wealth, you must speak wealth until your body, mind, and spirit can no longer deny it. Consider Sasha, a college dropout who worked in retail and could barely cover rent. She began a morning ritual every day, lighting a candle, standing in the mirror, and saying 10 times slowly, "I receive money. I welcome wealth. I am abundant." At first, it felt silly. Her account was in the negative, but she kept going. Day 12, she received an unexpected bonus from her store. Week 3, a friend connected her to a freelance opportunity using skills she had written off. Within 3 months, she left retail and was working full-time from home, earning 3 times what she made before. The shift didn't come because she found a secret app or lucky break. It came because she developed momentum through repetition. Momentum is spiritual law. When you push a rock, it doesn't move immediately. But once it starts rolling, its speed and power increase. Speaking "I receive money" is the push, and repetition builds the motion that can't be stopped. Let's add the science. Dr. Bruce Lipton, a cellular biologist, discovered that 95% of your actions are controlled by your subconscious mind, and the subconscious is shaped through repetition. When you speak a phrase with emotion and consistency, your subconscious accepts it as fact. Once accepted, it begins to redirect your decisions, perceptions, and energy. You start thinking like a wealthy person. You carry yourself with authority. You walk into rooms expecting favor. That inner change produces outward fruit. But it's not just the words. It's the faith behind the words that activates power. You can't say "I receive money" and secretly think, "but probably not today." That's double-mindedness. It leaks your power. The law of attraction doesn't respond to begging. It responds to belief. When you declare your affirmation, you must say it as if it's already true. Feel the emotion. Visualize the result. Let your body respond to the declaration like it's happening in real time. Faith-filled repetition is how you erase years of mental programming. If you were told as a child, money doesn't grow on trees, you probably internalized scarcity. If you grew up watching your parents fight over bills, you probably associated wealth with pain. Those roots run deep, but repetition uproots. Repeating new declarations with faith is not a performance. It's warfare. You are fighting against old systems to plant a new future. And here's a key truth. Repetition leads to revelation. The first time you say, "I receive money," you might not feel anything, but the 10th time, something shifts. By the 50th time, your posture changes. By the 100th time, your subconscious treats it as law. You begin to hear new ideas. You feel drawn to better circles. You recognize opportunities that were invisible before. Why? Because you've trained your mind to expect what you're speaking. Let's not forget spiritual momentum. Heaven responds to faith. The more you speak with belief, the more the atmosphere aligns. Angels are dispatched. Resources are redirected. The unseen world bends toward your declaration. God moves through people, platforms, and even strangers to honor the word you've been echoing in faith. Now, a warning, don't stop when you feel nothing. That's the test. The old identity will fight back. It will say, "This isn't working," but persistence breaks resistance. The enemy doesn't fear your words once. He fears them when they become your lifestyle. So keep speaking, keep repeating, keep believing. Use alarms on your phone. Put sticky notes on your door, write it in your journal, whisper it before bed, declare it in your car, shout it during your walks. Every repetition is a seed, and no seed returns void. Speak until you believe until you become, and once you become, you'll never lack again. Saying the right words without the right feelings is like putting a key in the door, but never turning it. The law of attraction doesn't respond to empty declarations. It responds to energy. Emotion is the amplifier of your affirmation. You can say, "I receive money," 1,000 times, but if you're saying it with doubt, fear, guilt, or numbness, the signal you're sending is scrambled. Money doesn't just move by words. It moves by energy that's fully aligned. You see, your emotions are like the voltage behind the current. Words carry frequency, but emotions are the charge. If you say, "I receive money," while secretly fearing bills, resenting the wealthy, or feeling undeserving, you're short, circuiting your own declaration. That's why two people can say the same words and get different results. One says it with confidence, joy, and expectation. The other says it out of desperation, hoping something changes. One attracts, the other repels. Let me break this down practically. Imagine two farmers sowing seed. One plants with joy, watering the ground daily, believing in the harvest. The other plants while complaining, doubting the soil, and ignoring the process. Same seed, same land, but different energy. Who gets the harvest? The one whose attitude matched the action. Your life works the same way. Now here's a powerful example. Melanie, a school teacher in South Africa, started using the affirmation, "I receive money," every morning. But for weeks, nothing changed. She was consistent, but robotic. She was repeating words, not releasing faith. Then one morning, after reading a story about a woman who manifested a business breakthrough through gratitude, she changed her approach. She began saying, "I receive money," with a smile, tears in her eyes, visualizing herself debt-free, hugging her children, blessing others. That shift in emotional energy created a ripple. That same week, an old friend contacted her with an opportunity to write a curriculum for extra income. 2 weeks later, she was offered a consulting contract, her first time ever working outside the classroom. Her circumstances didn't just change because she said the right thing. They changed because she felt it. She became emotionally congruent with the reality she wanted. The heart fuels the mouth. If you speak abundance but feel unworthy, the universe reads your feeling, not just your phrase. And that's why your feelings must become intentional. Don't just say, "I receive money." As you speak it, close your eyes, visualize. What would it feel like to be debt-free, to give without fear, to walk into your bank and smile, to pay someone else's tuition? Let the emotion flood your soul. Speak with that energy. Science confirms this too. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that the combination of a clear intention and an elevated emotion is what rewires the brain and attracts new outcomes. The emotion is not optional, it's essential. You can't manifest wealth from a place of survival. You must rise into the feeling of safety, joy, and gratitude even before the evidence arrives. And here's a key emotional ingredient: gratitude. Gratitude is the emotional signature of receivers. When you are grateful before the blessing comes, you are showing heaven you believe it's already done. Say, "I receive money," and immediately follow with "thank you." Feel the thankfulness as if the money already arrived. Gratitude unlocks increase. Think of it like this: a tuning fork vibrates and draws to it the same frequency. If you vibrate with fear, you attract more reasons to fear. If you vibrate with joy and wealth, consciousness, you draw the people, calls, ideas, and surprises that match that level. Your emotional frequency determines your financial future. Now let's address the elephant in the room. What if you don't feel joyful or expectant? What if you feel tired, discouraged, or numb? That's okay. Start where you are, but don't stay there. Begin to use your imagination as a bridge. Imagine something that brings you peace. Feel that moment, then speak, "I receive money," while holding that peaceful energy. Emotional alignment isn't always natural at first. It's a skill. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes. Remember, Emotion is energy in motion. The more you speak with passion, the more momentum you create. This isn't about hype, it's about heart. Even a whisper carries power when it's wrapped in belief. So today, elevate your emotions. Say the 3 words with love, gratitude, and certainty. When you say, "I receive money," feel your body open up, your mind relax, and your spirit rejoice. That's not imagination, that's activation. That's how heaven knows you're ready. And money, it moves toward emotion, not effort. You've worked, you've strived. Now it's time to align emotionally and let it flow.